We're live.
And it says that we're live, so
we're live.
Let's just go ahead and have some confirmation from everybody that we are live, and we'll jump right into some updates on what we've been doing, where we're at. Sam's looking at the comments over here, so he's not ignoring or texting.
Nope.
So just confirm that we are live, everybody. With that one, thank you everybody for being here this evening, as we have had quite a busy schedule. You know, since we left Bill Simmons and finding him over in Nashville, we ended up over in Jackson, Tennessee. We talked about that one, about Frances McKenzie, Brian's mom. And then from there, we ended up down in Oklahoma. Well, we've done a lot. So we did Grandma that you've already released. I've already lost track of everything we've done. Yeah. But what we want to talk to you about today is the current update that took place yesterday. We were in Hawk Cove,
Mm-hmm.
Texas is where we're at, or where we were at. And we met up with a family member of Carey Mae Parker. So let me bring you into the story, the backstory of Carey Mae. Went missing in August of 1991 is when she went missing. And she went missing the day of her son Brian's birthday. He was going to be 6 years old on that day. And but nobody really knew what happened to Carrie. You know, she kind of lived between two different places. You know, she had her home address at her dad's house. She liked to, party. She was getting her life on track, as from what I understand. And she was driving a blue Buick Skylark. Now, this Buick Skylark and her went missing. And with this one, it was a really weird thing, because it wasn't until 2010 that they realized that the police report of the missing persons, being filed, was actually never really filed on this case. And it was the dad had filed it a few days after she went missing, or when they thought. And then Trish, her sister, I think it was about 2 weeks later, when Trish had also filed a missing persons case. But then here we are now, fast forward to 2010, 19 years later at that moment in time, and they find out that none of these missing persons cases had ever been filed. So here we are now. That's the information that we have is, where does the agencies even start, that it's so much time has passed? And so, with that, they tried tracking down, previous, boyfriends and friends and family members. And in fact, there was they really put heavy focus on one of the boyfriends, or one of the ex-boyfriends. So much so that I believe they went back to the property twice to do ground penetrating radar and to really search it. And Team Waters was actually in the area on another case, years ago, working on the Michael Chambers case, and they did some sonar work as well in the area at Lake Tawakoni. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
And with that one, where do you start on these? And I guess that's the real thing is, when we come into this, I was talking to the sheriff yesterday, and he says, we start at the top with the, who were her closest friends, who was her family, and they always look at, missing persons cases as, is this foul play? And they start going down that list of, and that's why they had such interest in the boyfriend's property as well, so much so that they ended up doing those sonar searches, that there was warrants on that property. But when we come into it, we come into it with we hope that it's, I don't like using the word hope, but, we come into it with let's treat this as though it's a straight up accident, that it's not somebody's taking, themselves out. It's not foul play. Let's look at these angles of nothing more than an accident to begin with. And that's how we approached this one. So we approached it with here's a boat ramp down on the east side of the lake. Let's start searching that one. If she took a drive, if she was feeling depressed or anything, let's look at that angle, but let's also look at the accident angles. And Sam and I mean, the wind was ripping, so we were limited on the locations that we could actually go search. And our intent was actually to make it, almost 4 miles across the lake. We only got about halfway across the lake. And I mean, our boat was, it's a good thing we have inflatable boats, because our boat was
great.
a good 6 inches inside of the boat, we had water. I mean, the waves are hitting it. And eventually Dan is actually right there on the other side of the table from me. So we got Dan and Kevin are here with us as well. So.
Yeah. See, watch. Let me shake some hands.
Yeah.
See, I'm over here now.
So, yeah. And so anyway, so we ended up having to cancel the rest of our search on that one. So, location number 1. So we headed over to, we wanted to go search some quarries because there's I look at it, where did she last live? Where did she work? And where did she like to party?
Yep.
So we start to triangulate from there, bringing in and then working our search out is how we always come in. We approach these. The quarries that we wanted to get into is some private property, and so as such, we ended up not being able to do so. So that then took us over to Hawk Cove, which is, where her father, is, and that was her mailing address, was over in Hawk Cove. Really difficult to get into. There was no public accesses for us to get in there. And so we ended up finding a local Goodies Marina. If you're ever in the area, go check them out because they actually have a private public boat ramp. We told them what we were doing, and they were kind enough to waive the launch fee. And so thank you to them over there for supporting, our efforts as we're out here helping these families on these cold cases. With this, an entire day, also we're working side by side with Trish, who is Carrie's sister. And so her and her friend Lori were with us for the entire day. And then later on in our story this evening, I'll bring you in on the other family members that also ended up showing up. Do you guys want me to just continue to talk and tell the story, or would you like to jump in at any point?
Oh, you're doing good. I'll interject.
Okay. All right.
This time.
Yeah. And with this and with the edited video, also know that, we have a big backlog. We've been on the road now for 20 some odd days. I think Dan said that we have 24, 25 videos that he's up to that need to be edited. And so this of us finding Carrie's car and the location and the events of that day, everything will be edited down to a nice 30-minute version for you in 2 or 3 months. So it's going to be a while before that video actually comes out. So if you've not yet subscribed, make sure you do so that way you don't miss that episode. So where does that take us? So now that takes us that Sam and I are in Hawk Cove. It's kind of out of the wind, so we're not filling up the boat with as much water. We still had some waves that kicked up. We come back around from there, and I ended up switching out with Sam so that way he could run across to our first location where we first met Trish and Lori, because I wanted to then just do a scan along this one section, a levee section, as I'm heading back across to the first boat ramp that I just wanted to clear everything since we were so close to that area. So Dan jumps in the boat with me, and I don't think we were in the boat more than 5 minutes when a car shows up on sonar, and this vehicle appears to be, at least 20 years old. Now, keep in mind, we're looking for a vehicle that's been underwater for almost 30 years. And you can just tell the difference in the structure on the sonar when you see it on sonar and you've been doing it for a while and you've been looking at these, that it's not, nice and shiny, and it's, kind of dilapidated. And it's just one of those things that you just know. But within this as well, Dan, do you want to tell about the balloons?
Yeah. So should we do an audio check to make sure?
Can you
guys hear us?
Yeah, we need an audio check because we have to mute Dan's mic in order for him to talk on here. If we don't have good audio on him, we're going to have me continue to tell the story, or actually just jump.
Yeah.
You jump, and then because he was in the boat with me, so I want him to tell the story on this.
Oh, you want me to tell?
Yeah, meaning move.
No,
jump.
They say we can hear.
Okay, you can hear. You can hear.
All right, sorry.
Thank you, Tara.
It might be fun though to just play musical chairs.
Fun for who?
I don't know.
All right, so we're in the boat.
So we're in the boat. Jared sees us on sonar. I look over from my side of the boat, and it definitely looks like an older car. It's older, upside down. And then we head to shore to tie off the magnet once we get the magnet hooked.
No, before we do that, touch on what we saw there.
Yeah, it was when we took it over, I thought.
No, this is before we even threw the magnet.
Oh, it was?
I think so. We'll have to review the footage.
Either way.
Listen, you tell the story like you remember.
We go to the shore. I don't remember if we had the magnet line or not. But once we get to shore, not 5 feet from, if you were to go 90 degrees out from the road to where the car is, there's these balloons snagged in a bush. They were snagged. They were not tied there, nothing. They were happy birthday balloons snagged in a bush on the side of the road, which is very coincidental considering she was on the way to her son's birthday.
Well, and we have a few other things that are birthday related. Is that that one of the last times that Trish was had seen Carrie and was kind of upset with her is that Trish had a birthday, and that Carrie ended up missing the birthday party because Carrie was arrested, and so we have the significance of the happy birthday balloons because Trish had recently had a birthday. We have the significance of the happy birthday balloons of because Brian had his birthday, but as Dan said, we thought that those balloons, when we saw the car on sonar, it was almost immediately because we saw the car on sonar and then we saw the balloons immediately. That it's like, oh, okay, well, somebody already knows about this car, that this is just a memorial.
Yeah. Now I remember. And then we went over and verified, and they were definitely not put there on purpose. They were not tied. They had blown to that area, to that exact location. Like, please come pay attention to this spot right here. And that's when we then went over it and we did the magnet, and with the magnet we ended up pulling up some metal pieces. From there we then tied it off to the pole over on shore, and then that's when Sam ended up suiting up. And Sam?
Yeah, so I ended up suiting up, heading out there, and actually I jumped in. I did this real cool thing where I forgot to close my zipper all the way. So my suit filled up with water, and which was ridiculously cold. But I decided, to go down and dive on it anyway, see if I could pull a plate. So I dove on it, started going around the car. I couldn't find any plates. I was just looking for some kind of piece that was recognizable of the car. Just try to make a model. I ended up grabbing a piece of the almost like a little piece towards the bumper. I grabbed that and I ripped that off, hoping that we'd see some kind of color on it. But truthfully, I was so dang cold that my brain was starting to shut down a little bit. I knew I needed to get out of the water. So I came up with my piece that I ripped off, and I came up and said, "Yeah, Jared, my brain's not doing good, man. I need to get out of the water. I'm having trouble. I can't find anything. I can't find any license plates. Here's what I got." And he said, "Okay, cool." So I jumped in the boat and we went back to shore, and then Jared suited up. And so anyway, so the moral of the story is, if you jump in the water, make sure that your suit's zipped all the way.
Yes,
it's kind of a thing.
It definitely helps.
Anthony from New York says rookie.
Rookie, yeah. What's up, Anthony, man? Good to hear from you.
And ironically enough, that part that you brought up, I had the same exact color car, 1 year older, and it was a Skyhawk.
Yeah, because there was nothing that was recognizable. I mean, it was kind of like rubble. So I was just grabbing at pieces, just trying to figure out, well, maybe we can figure out what color it is or just something.
So that's when I ended up getting in the water, and like Sam said, the visibility was almost nothing. So I mean, I'm down there, and we're talking 3 inches maybe of visibility, and the waves, the wind that I was mentioning, the vehicle is 40 feet out from shore. The vehicle is 16 to 20 feet down, meaning from top to the bottom of it. And because of all the wind and the waves, it also stirs up all the silt and the sediment. And so with that, that's the reason why the visibility is also so limited under there. So I'm doing my best to, figuring out, first of all, which section I'm dropping down on as I follow the magnet line down. And, I identify that I'm on the driver's side. And as I make my way around, the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking for the windows. Are the windows up or are they intact? And the driver's windows were both up. I make my way towards the front of the car, and immediately, I mean, you could just tell that the vehicle is just completely damaged and mangled. Like, this thing took a big hit. And if you see when you see this location and where it's at in the video that's coming up, you'll really question, like, wait a minute, there's a guardrail that's there, and that guardrail has been there for the last 50 years. How did the car get over the guardrail and nobody ever noticed? And Kevin, why don't you kind of give, you're an ex-law enforcement, so let's kind of have your insight from the law enforcement and things that you've seen and what you know.
So what was told to us in the beginning was that there was no known guardrail damage. And when we came in and I first crossed that bridge, I recognized how low that bridge was, and if there was any tide, how does it not wash over the bridge? So, are you asking me to interdict on maybe the accident side of it?
The accident side of it,
Yeah.
like a car getting over a guardrail, and nobody noticing.
And the guardrail is literally 2.5 feet tall, so it's not a tall guardrail. I mean, it's just basically meant to hit a bumper of a car, and the door of a car. That's what they're designed to do. So there's been no known issues with this or accidents around that time frame that anybody ever reported to the police that anybody knows about. And believe me, the family did extensive research and have been carrying this for 30 years. So I believe what they said. So with that, I do have experience, and I do remember accidents happening where when two tires touch, you have an oncoming car and an oncoming car. When two tires touch, it will take the smaller car and it'll launch it in a spiral action. And that's probably, in my opinion, that's what happened is a bigger truck touched wheels with that car. Maybe the truck driver or whoever was in the other car was intoxicated. That's the reason why they didn't report it or stop. It was late at night when she went missing, was reported last seen. So yeah, in my opinion, the car spiraled over the guardrail and found its way to the bottom of the river.
And so with the car being, down the embankment, 40 feet out, upside down, the back of it is roughly 35 feet. The front of it was roughly, 50 feet out from the guardrail area, upside down in 16 to 20 feet of water. So as I make my way around, completely, the car is already, in two pieces almost. I then make my way around to the passenger side. In fact, before I even make my way around to the passenger side, I'm feeling for emblems, because I looked at some pictures, like where's the Buick emblem going to be if this is a Buick Skylark? I also know that the car is already upside down, so I know I'm looking on the hood, and I'm trying to reach underneath the front hood of the car to see if I can pull the emblem off the front. And in doing so, the bumper just pretty much fell off right in my hands. So I bring the bumper up, so I inflate my BC and I inflate my dry suit, and I bring the bumper up to Sam, and now Sam has the bumper on the front of the boat. At this point, it's almost like you couldn't even tell that it was a blue-gray Skylark. It'd been underwater for almost 30 years, this vehicle, and so it was kind of almost like a gold color. I'm like, wow, this was almost like a gold Honda in a way.
Talking about the bumper?
The bumper, yeah. So I went back down. When I dropped back down, I then, finished coming around the front of the car, seeing if I could find the emblem. I ended up finding another small emblem. In fact, it wasn't even an emblem. It was more like the plastic housing of where an emblem would have gone inside of it. So I ended up prying that off with my knife, and then the front passenger door was also open. And so with that, as the car is kind of crumbling and deteriorating, coming apart, I was able to actually, one, reach inside of the passenger side and, fill for any remains. I was not able to, fill anything. And I'm also not going to put myself inside of the car and put myself in jeopardy of getting snagged on anything. So that's as far as I was able to reach in. Now with that, the door was also open, and I was able to grab part of the door panel, and I pulled the door panel off, and I brought that up to Sam as well as with the emblem. At that point, I felt like we had, I finished going around in the car to see if there was anything else. So I do feel like, we had enough to identify what this car was. We then ended up going back to shore, and on the underside of the bumper was a stamp, a stamped number in it. And from that stamped number, Sam was able to look it up, and it belonged to a 1980 to an 84 Skylark is what this stamp number was. In addition to that, under the quarter panel, under the carpeting, was the date stamp of 1979, which of when it was manufactured, and it was a GM, which Buick is made by GM, which then puts the vehicle. Is that the right car?
It's about correct.
Okay.
Carrie's car is.
Well, I have the one. Yeah, Carrie's just a little more. Yeah, that's more of the style there. So we were able to identify that the vehicle was, a Skylark. At that point, we felt like we had enough information, we had enough confirmation that it was now time to call the sheriff's office. In fact, the sheriff has a little write-up that's in the description down below. And I think they said that, I can't remember the time. I think they said it was like 5:18 or something that we ended up calling the sheriff. So sheriff came down, and I pretty much presented it immediately. Like, you know what, we have located this for you now. I want to be 100% hands off at this point. The car has been down there for 30 years. I know that if the car is pulled, that this car is just we're going to be lucky to get this car up in one piece, and I don't want this responsibility on my shoulders. But the sheriff, is like, you know what, with the families here tonight, and other family members started to come down at this point, including Brian, Carrie's oldest son, who's, it was his birthday. And why don't you tell about the Smurf story?
Ooh. Yeah, so it was pretty wild. I didn't notice it, and Kevin or Dan or Jared, none of us noticed it.
Can I grab that photo off your phone?
Yeah, it's actually, the photo's on my other phone. It should be either down there, up there on my bed.
Yeah, Sam's very cool and has 2 phones.
I got 2 phones.
So do I.
Yeah, that's funny. Anyway, yeah, so I do have 2 phones. One's T-Mobile, the other one's Verizon. That way, when we're out here on the road, I can just look and see which phone is better for live streaming. And as far as service, then I'll pick one, or I'll pick accordingly. Yeah, I'll go ahead and bring this picture up. Anyway, so we're getting there. Or actually, we're there in the door. None of us noticed it. It's somewhere in there. Dan, you could look for it. Except for the young man Brian. When he was young, he used to really love. When he was a kid, he was really into the Smurfs. And he saw a sticker, a Smurf sticker. There was a Smurf sticker on the door that he had placed there when he was probably about like 5 or 6.
Wait, wasn't he? 6?
How old was he?
So it was his 6th birthday is when Carrie went missing. So
okay, so some time before then. Anyway, so he found a Smurf sticker on the door, and he reached down and he picked it up and plucked it off. Which to me, that's a real wild thought. Knowing that he was probably the one that put that sticker there as a young child, and now as a grown man, he's taking that sticker off. So I thought that was pretty wild.
Yeah, I can't get it to go to my computer, but
To kind of put it into perspective,
I get it.
does that focus on you?
from my view, to kind of put it in perspective, is all of us put our hands on that door, all of us, and turned it over, looked at stamping numbers, everything in that nature.
No, doesn't work.
None of us saw.
Oh, well.
None of us saw the Smurf
Best
sticker.
believe us.
Now, the Smurf sticker was found by her son, who liked Smurfs when they were younger. Now think about this. For 30 years, that sticker was on a door underwater. And in my opinion, if you put a sticker underwater for 30 seconds, it's going to float away. So for him to find it and for it to be on that door for 30 years that says something.
Yeah, and these are like those old plastic ones that they were kind of like soft.
Spongy.
Yeah, the
little spongy
ones,
stickers.
those old time stickers. I don't know if they have those stickers anymore. I'm sure they do. So as I was telling the sheriff, I don't as much respect as we would have for the car and Carrie, and for the family. We don't want the responsibility of bringing this car up because it is just going to pull apart. But as he said, you're here now. You're in your dry suit. You're ready to go. Can you do this for me? Like, he pulled me aside off camera and everything, and really said, I trust. I've seen your series. I know what you guys can do. I trust you. Will you do it for me? And and I couldn't leave him nor the family that evening with I knew that it would be another day or two before they could get another dive team in there, and with the entire family there, that was just something I couldn't say no to. So I went down, and Sam assisted me from the top side, and I ended up rigging all 4 axles because the vehicle was upside down, and I rigged it in such a way that, with those windows being still intact, the moment you move something that old, those windows are going to pop. And so the whole thing was, I wanted to make sure that we lifted the front of the car a little bit, but also make sure that side that had the door that was open, I didn't want the car rotating to that side. And so I had to rig the change in such a way that we have a big rotator that came out over the water, and we used double cables. So I did a set of I did a cable to the front attached to the 2 chains. I did a cable to the back attached to those 2 chains. And so that way we could bring it up nice and level all in one piece. Well, when we ended up bringing it up, and sure enough, it broke apart just as I, had suspected it was going to. In fact, Dan, why don't you pop up that picture? So, so here's the car, and if you look at the upper side of that, you can actually see. Can we see?
And before anyone says it, there were no remains in that.
Yeah. So we have no remains in the vehicle currently, because the car at the back end. Do we have any pictures of the back end of it by chance?
Same here.
We don't have any that we've uploaded. So you'll see in the video, or you can see the door right here, the rear door. Pretty much the back of the car stops there, and there is no trunk. There is no back end of the car. There is no back seat. The passenger seat is missing. The driver's seat is actually in the vehicle, and in the edited version that's coming up in a couple months, you'll actually see all of that. So if you've not yet subscribed, please make sure that you do so you don't miss that video when it comes out. And so what we now have is, I did also let the sheriff know ahead of time, this is going to happen. I mean, plain and simple, it's going to happen. And when it does, I don't want to be stuck here for the next couple of days doing a forensics, search and recovery mission on this one that we now have identified, or we're going to identify that this is 100% Carrie's car. But then now you're going to have to bring in, and the entire area has to be sectioned off, and a forensics dive team has to go into that entire area to clean the area up properly. So for those of you who've been asking and wondering, Carrie has not yet been brought out of the water. And with this one, in talking with Trish and her, her sharing with other people online today as well, is, Trish or Carrie may never be brought out of the water, but what we have is we have the answers as to removing all questions of foul play. That putting this on, I'm going to say 100%, this is a 100% accident, that Carrie was in the car that evening, that Carrie had an accident, and that Carrie, was with her vehicle. Now, is there a chance that at some point that she was able to try to get out and swim away? Me personally, I'm going to theorize, which is always bad, I guess. I do it anyway all the time, as you guys know. But I'm going to say that Carrie never left the inside of the car that evening because of the way that the car would have hit the water with it being upside down, as well as a body will go through 2 floats. And with as busy as the lake is in that section, somebody would have noticed over the course of the next month or two, during the time that the body would off gas and float, that Carrie was not ever located during that time. So for that, I'm going to theorize on such. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm not Kevin, but I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with you on that one. Yeah.
So with that, now what we have is we have the vehicle has now been brought up, and now the investigators, are looking for the VIN number, and it took them, a good 10-15 minutes to actually get it. And
yeah, it was very brittle, and some of the numbers were actually gone because of that thin as metal.
Yeah, and it was almost like a lottery number was being read off, like they were scratching it off, and one person was standing there reading the numbers as the other one is confirming them. And the car was registered. It belonged, the car was registered ownership to Carrie, and it has been 100% confirmed that yes, here we are 29 years later, and we're able to bring answers to Carrie's family, that they now know what happened to Carrie, and they now know where Carrie is at. And with them having this, no longer having to wonder, Brian and Mandy and Brandy, are the 3 children, that they've spent all these years wondering where their mom was at and what happened to her. And now they have those answers, and all of them, from Trish to, Trish, the sister, to Glenn, the brother, to the, to the children coming out with their words of saying, there's absolutely no way in the entire world we can ever repay you. You have absolutely no idea what you have done for our family, being able to give us, these answers. And, and they had a few things to say to you as well.
Oh yeah. The, just the, I don't know, it's kind of my words aren't really coming out of my face right now. That's all right. I'd say, you know, something that really that kind of hit me, you know, was, you know, just when you hug, you know, a family member in that circumstance, you know, you could just feel their whole body trembling, you know, and then, you know, their words are, you know, they're so just, you know, just nonstop expressing of gratitude and, you know, and saying thank you. And I don't know, truthfully, sometimes, you know, I really don't know how to react in that certain, you know, or what to say back other than, you know, you're welcome. You know, but that's, you know, it really fuels me and keeps me going, you know, with this type of stuff, you know, is, you know, that we have, you know, solved and that we are solving and that we are out here, we are trying, we're trying to bring hope, we're trying to bring closure, we're trying to bring answers. You know, we are being successful. We're not, you know, successful as far, you know, as far as getting all the answers on all of them, but we're definitely out there doing what we can, you know, and, you know, serving with a purpose. And I don't know, you know, so my biggest takeaway, you know, was just the, you know, just that raw emotion, you know, from the loved ones, you know, and just, yeah, it blows me away every time. You know, this is our sixth, you know, together on this channel, you know, sixth one that we've been a part of. And every time, you know, with the family, it always just blows you away, you know, and it's a super humbling experience. And you drive away from it, everyone's quiet, and I don't know, just it's really powerful, just a powerful moment. You know, we are able to help serve in that way.
You know, and you know, Dan has now been a part of it for 4 now, and of those 4,
Yeah.
2 of them, you were there to see the sonar image, you know, pop up, and
Yeah, both the ones on this trip.
yeah, and kind of talk about the seeing something on sonar and seeing the something that you are looking for, the difference in that, and you know, kind of your feelings behind that when it happens.
Yeah, so the first case on this trip, Bill Simmons, I was on the boat with Dennis, Tammy, and Bryson, and we were just searching. When the video comes out, you guys will understand why this location, it made sense the whole time, but it didn't make sense. To where we were very shocked, and we had thought this location had already been searched because it was very obvious, but also just it didn't make sense until you realized it makes sense. So yeah, when we saw the car on sonar, Dennis just immediately was, that's Bill. And the feeling, I remember Bryson just taking like just the biggest deep breath. He just at a loss for words, and I don't know. It's the most powerful feeling, and it's just like your intuition. You know, that feeling I felt yesterday when we found those balloons is really when I started to feel that feeling. And something else I've started to notice with this whole thing is there's always a sign. For example, on Ethan Kazmarek, I crashed my drone a few hours prior. On Bill, I crashed my drone a few hours prior. And yesterday, the balloons were a sign of a different form, but still a sign. I don't really want to form a conclusion on what that means, but it really is a powerful feeling to know that. But,
Yeah,
it's
and I'll back it up. I mean, we were talking about that on the boat. You know, it's like Dan, like we just know, like this is, and we have found, you know, Carrie's car, and we were able to bring answers to.
It's such a weird feeling because you just have confidence. Like you don't know, but you know.
Yeah.
It's an energy thing, you know. The energy just hits you, and you tap into it, and you just feel it.
Yeah, and our energy and mood changes also the moment that this happens. You know, you'll see us in our videos, and you guys, you know that, you know, we come into this, we're having a great time with what we do. We enjoy being in the water. We enjoy hanging out with one another. You know, Sam and I are, you know, bouncing through waves hours earlier. Like, hey, we could sink and die here. You're a captain. You should have told us to turn around sooner, to where the winds kick up, and it's just part of the adventure and us being boys again. We often say that, hey, we're 8 years old going out on a new adventure today, and what is it we're going to solve, or what is it we're going to find? But then, that energy, the moment, it's like, all right, now it's time to go into, bringing those final answers to the family. And, it's a powerful thing, as, Dan said, and Sam has said. And in fact, Kevin, this is your first one that you've been an officer before, so you've been around this before, but kind of go into the difference between what you've done before. And, you made a comment about it yesterday that I can't remember exactly what the comment was, but I mean, it was like, now, I think it was something along the lines of, now I understand and feel what you guys feel.
Yeah, stuff. Because I had talked with Sam off camera before and asked him questions, and on camera once. And I remember vividly Sam saying that, the first couple hours or the rest of the night, they're just driving and it's silent. And he said he couldn't describe it. And then the next day they'll talk about it. And I understood the silence, because there really is no way to, and this is just in my opinion, put it into words with the current state that you're in, with the amount that's going on, and exhausted as you are from working all day on this case, as much emotions you've been going through all day on this case. To be able to find the right words, you got to be in a perfect state of mind and physically. And I'm not even sure that would be the case. I think your mental and your emotions just need a break for a little while to be able to put it in perspective. And for me, I knew that moment was there. I know exactly when that moment happened. And that's when, after the sheriff had said that it is her car, and I looked over on the docks, and all of her 3 children were arm in arm on the docks, and they were all thinking to themselves, but out loud. And that they haven't seen their mother for 29, 30 years, something like that. And that, if there could ever be emotions through a radiation, I teared up. And I think I teared up twice, 2 or 3 times that day, but that one, I had to kind of turn around and walk away. It was so powerful.
So that's the update that we have. There's a news link that's down below. I know there's some other news stations that are, doing a story on it. We're going to have the full, there's never anything better than, the full events of that day that we'll be able to share with you. So we appreciate, you being here with us tonight as we bring you up to speed on this. That we held off a day until, more things came about. The family was able to go view the car today, and, they were able to, find additional answers and peace in just seeing the car for themselves. Because, last night the entire, bridge and the causeway was actually closed down, that there were very few of us that were out there as the car was being brought out of the water, that, no pictures or videos, had yet been released. And, we didn't put anything out there until the family had that moment for themselves. And so we appreciate, those that did reach out to us. We appreciate you understanding why we had not yet shared it. But, you, the viewers, you are a part of this with us. You are Adventures of Purpose. You are AWP, and we appreciate every single one of you for being here. And whether you're just watching the video, you're sharing the video, or if you're able to pitch in, financially, all you members. I see new members this evening, and, and I can't, say thank you to every one of them because it doesn't go back that far. But, we got, Big Guy Simple, sent us a note, says thank you. We have new members like, Jackie and Melissa, and with members, if you are in a position to donate financially, please understand how much that means to us, that we're able to travel across the U.S. We're able to go help these families. We're able to buy air. We're able to buy fuel. We're able to put, new tires on the RV. We're able to buy an RV. Without you guys, none of this would be possible, So, and thank you, Christy, for that donation, and thank you, Brenda, for, coming on as a new member. And in just a moment, we'll answer, a few of your questions here this evening as well.
But before you go into that, I think really this Q1 road trip is just showing the power of persistence. We really learned on this trip anything's possible.
We're finding things in areas that we would not. Guardrails. We've ruled guardrails out before. It's like, oh, well, if there's a guardrail, there's no damage there. No reason to look.
Well, now they're back in.
guess what?
Exactly.
Now we're approaching this much differently. The Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons ended up clearing over 100-foot gap, and there was barely a mark at the very end of this, and you'll see that in the video when that comes out in March. We'll end up releasing over the course of 3 weeks 5 videos for you on that one. That we continue to grow, we continue to learn as we meet up with other sonar people like Team Waters, Tammy and Dennis, as we continue to solve more cases. That here we are now, 6 cases that we've been able to solve in the last 13 or 14 months together.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a part of that.
Yeah.
And Dan, thank you for being here. And we've got Kevin that's now has one under his belt with AWP, and that it's a movement that's happening, that we have other divers across the U.S. now that are going out with the intention of looking for this, and we have people that are not divers that are using their sonar. That a movement is taking place in the fishing world as well. That this word is starting to spread. That I'm seeing videos pop up that says, "Hey, we just found this car. Is AWP in the area?" Or they hear that we're coming to an area soon, that they're going out and pre-scanning for us as well. We have a case that we ended up doing. I think it was in Oklahoma at 10 Killer Lake. We had 2 different fishermen that were out that put us directly on a car that was like, we don't even know how that car got out there because the lake doesn't even freeze. Like, in my opinion, the only way for that car to get there is if the lake would have been frozen, they drove the car there. I still don't know how the car got there to that day. And so we continue to really expand where we need to be looking as well on some of these cases. So, so that really brings help. I hope that brings you into, the thought process as we're out here on the cases and your involvement in all of this, because without you guys, Dan is the only one. I mean, we're very transparent. Dan is the only one that's getting paid out of, everybody volunteering their time out here. And we would not be able to pay him to edit these videos without your memberships and without you guys sharing, without your donations. So thank you for that, as well as the gear and everything else we put into it. So it means a lot to us. We don't take it lightly, and we're very humbled by your generosity in helping us out. Let's jump in a couple of questions here, and then we do have an announcement as to what we're doing tomorrow. We can announce that we're going to be on private property. Nobody can be with us, but we'll actually jump over to Sam's channel right now. In fact, why don't you start your live stream, because I'm going to have to shut this one down because I'm moving the RV and I'm firing up and I gotta go get gas and everything else. So Sam's gonna open up a live stream, but let me answer some questions over here.
We're driving while I'm doing live stream.
No, because we're still gonna be here for another 30 minutes.
All right, so this is the moment where I look at my phone and I'm saying, okay, is it going to be T-Mobile or Verizon?
Oh, Verizon wins.
Yeah, Verizon. So we got 4 bars on Verizon and only 3 on T-Mobile.
So he'll be fired up in 5 minutes. So let me take some time now.
What is Sam's channel, by the way?
Sam the Adventure Man.
If you're a mod, if you could go ahead and drop that in now.
Yep. Any questions for Dan or Sam?
Want me to pop them up on screen?
Yeah. Why don't you do that? That'll be a little bit easier for us. So ask your questions, and Dan is going to pop them up on screen,
Okay.
so it makes it easy for me to answer.
Never mind, I just jumped away. Let me find it, because this one's very. This one has to do with tomorrow. How about we just talk about what we're doing tomorrow?
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it on Sam's channel. They'll have to go to Sam's channel and figure that one out. One of the questions that we keep getting, people do keep asking us about the boys over in California. We're not going over there, and we've talked about some of these reasons why we choose certain cases and not others. One is timing. We do have families of our own. We do have the road trip. We do have a certain route, and we can't just be jumping from Texas immediately over to California, for these things that happen right away. But in addition to that, we also have the, our specialty is, vehicle underwater search and recovery. It gives us the greatest chance to help the most amount of families, because if we go to California, and it takes us, 2 or 3 days to drive there, plus 2 or 3 days home, there's 5 days just in driving for one case. In addition to that, we have no vehicle. We have no actual lead as to where to even look, and very little chance for us with where we know our limitations are at, that we would spend another week or two kicking around in the water. And now we've spent 2 or 3 weeks on one case trying to help one family, instead of being able to jump out here and help 10 families in a 30-day period. So I hope that you guys can forgive us that we're not able to help all families. Yeah, it does pain us that you know, the more we do solve these, the more that, you know, families are also looking to us that, hey, come in, we know that you're going to solve it. And the thing is we're not going to solve every single one of them. You know, we were there in Kilgore today, Kilgore, Texas, and we had several incredible leads as to where to look. And one so much, so I'm like, we're going to find this in 5 minutes. And we ended up finding nothing. You know, we spent the day with the family there. And so, you know, what is, you know, referred to as a closing rate, you know, we're running about a 20% closing rate right now for what we're going on, which is incredible in the, you know, search and rescue arena. I don't know what the recovery rate was in the PD department we were in, but
I can only speak for the Coast Guard.
yeah,
It's 100%.
you guys do amazing.
No,
It wasn't 100%. I know. I already know that. So please do understand where we're at and why we have to say no to some cases. You know, especially if a body goes in a river. You know, and we've touched on this before. If a body goes in a river, it's not contained in something. If it's not within, you know, the first 100 or 200 yards, it can now be several hundred miles downriver. We just don't know where to even begin looking. So again, now we're just kicking around in the river in hopes of accidentally, you know, the one in a million chance, as opposed to us having some degree of hope in helping more families than not. So I thank you for that. Are you going to pop some questions up?
Yeah, they're all like way too specific for me to pop up on screen.
I keep seeing a whole bunch of. Are you guys in the same room?
Here's one of.
Yes.
Yeah, see, we're in the same room.
All right, Kevin.
So I've seen a
Kevin.
bunch about Kevin as far as, is Kevin remaining part of the team? Is Kevin going to be with us always? Like, a bunch of people are asking.
What is your plan to be hanging out with AWP?
Well, I guess first introduce what Kevin's role.
So let's first introduce Kevin. So those of you who do not know who Kevin is, this is Kevin with the NOMOC experience.
Let me go back over there because this is really hurting my back.
It's the same seat.
Yeah, but it's the other side of my back which is injured.
All right. So Kevin with the NOMOC experience, you know, has a history of working in PD as well as the Coast Guard. So he's been both on water as well as on land. Plays security force as well to help, you know, make sure that nothing walks away from the trailer while we're actually out searching. He does have a hashtag van life type of a lifestyle as well. So he does live in his van with his 2 dogs. Bella is warming up to me.
Getting better every day.
Yeah, your other dog just loves everybody.
Yeah.
So with that one, so now what is your plan moving forward? You're going to be with us tomorrow, but then you're taking off. And so who is Kevin and what is Kevin's life about?
So
I almost feel like this is a Sam channel though.
could be.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be up and running here in like just in
Because
30 seconds. Adventures with Purpose update. I'm gonna title this real quick.
yes,
I think it would be
so let
better
me
to answer on his channel.
Yeah, I think so too. So it's going to be a little bit different. So the link, I think that the link is down in the description for Kevin. If it's not, if one of the mods will put it in there, and I'll try to put that link in there for him later. So the NOMOC experience. Let's go with questions specific to either Carrie or some of the, you know, our diving on the trip. And I'm not trying to push you off on Kevin, but it's going to be as I'm getting gas and everything.
Hey guys, lean in for the thumbnail real quick. We'll try another one. Yeah, it should get a quick thumbnail.
Are you allowed to magnet fish public rivers in the UK? I don't know about the UK. Dan's side is frozen. Dan asked Jared to make me a
Oh,
mod.
here we go. I'm back.
You get it?
Whoa.
Sorry about that.
Whoa.
How do you deal about finding the bodies? To answer your question on that one, finding, you know, human remains and finding the body is a very humbling experience for me. With the, it's, you know, I kind of go back to the very first one, is just the realization of how incredible life is, how short life is, and make sure that you hug.
All right, guys, look back real quick. Well, I'll update a better picture later.
So
That'll work for now.
So that's how it is for me. Arnell, thank you very much for that donation. Blessing, love you from SoCal. Thank you very much. Maureen says, are they still searching for Carrie's remains? Yes, they do have a forensics dive team that is coming in to search for her and more
I'm
of the
gonna
car.
go start my live and then I'll come in. And
Okay,
Alright, sounds good.
sounds good. So
And I want to say thank you to Dylan Van Trest for the donation as well. I hope you're doing well. It's good seeing you on here.
Hey Sam, did you get your band-aids? Sam, yes, Sam got his band-aids, and I also got my own band-aid because I did cut myself on Carrie's car yesterday as well. Glenna says, finally get to talk to you guys. Thank you very much. Never give up. No question to show the love. Thank you for that, for showing your love.
I'm seeing a lot about the seatbelt, and neither of the seatbelts will buckle. But they could have also deteriorated over time. And you also have to take into account a lot of people back then didn't wear seatbelts.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't alive.
Yeah. And it's really weird that Dan says that he was not alive in the 90s.
Catch his,
Okay.
catch his signing out real
Man,
quick.
I just felt really old.
Yeah.
Put this around here so you guys can see what's happening.
Could you ever come to Louisiana? Yes, it's absolutely a possibility. We have a big map as to different cold cases with vehicles across the entire U.S. And so, we'll start planning our next trip. And a lot of that planning that next trip is based upon, the donations and the memberships and, the funds that come in from sponsors as well. So, we do appreciate, you understanding also that when we do have sponsors and we take up 2 or 3 minutes of your time in a video for a sponsorship brand integration shout out, that, those really help us out when those sponsors come on board. So thank you for, nobody's really ever gotten upset about it. Dan has done an incredible job with integrating those very well into the video. So Dan, thank you for that. And, thank you for your, all your camera work. Everybody loves your camera work. And I think that at times you get more comments than I do about
These in an episode.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you guys. It means the world, and your positive comments just make me want to do better. Make the videos as good as I possibly can. So thank you, every single one of you.
So if you do have the ability to become a member, please do so. With that, our way of saying thank you is you do get videos early. The next video that's coming out is
Samantha Hawker.
Russellville,
Arkansas.
Yep, which is a mother that went missing. I think she was 22 or 23 at the time. Pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant, and she also had her 22-month-old daughter with her. She had one other daughter that was not in the car, that was with grandma at the time. And so her older daughter was too young to remember her, so only knows her with a few of the pictures and the stories that grandma has told her through the years. So we do have some of the search that we're going to be bringing you into that story as to where can we go to look for, Samantha further, and where we searched while we were there.
Did Sam will talk about his regulator on his stream.
Yeah. Come on over, guys.
Yep. On that one, thank you, Renee, for becoming a member, and thank you to Eugene for becoming a member, and anybody else I know that I missed a lot of you this evening. So thank you very much. Sandy, love you too. Thank you for being here. I would like to offer my condolences to the family. Yes. Mr. Robot, no, she was not inside the car. There's a forensic team that'll be going back to clean up the area, and hopefully they'll be able to bring her home. Even if she is not brought home, the family has said, we now know what happened, and we now know, where she is. So, on that one, yes, Tatjana Andrews just said later. So yes, I'm going to say later on here.
Hit him with a later.
Yep. Bounce over to Sam's channel right now. It's going to be, we're going to bring it back up. We're going to be more upbeat over there. I'm going to jump out and move the RV and get some gas going in. And then he's going to tell you where we're going tonight and what we're doing tomorrow.
Yes.
Stories about the No Mock experience. So if you make sure you subscribe to the No Mock experience as well. So we'll feed you some more as well. And he does almost nightly live streams.
I'm trying to point to it.
There it is.
Almost nightly live streams in the for the hashtag
This
van
is
life.
Dan trying to point to me.
Yeah, Leanne, thank you for being here tonight. Great babe. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. And
Yes, thank you.
I'm going to answer 2 more questions if I see them pop up, and if not, then I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So Sam's channel, here we come. Yep, go over to Sam's channel. All right. How long is the preparation for you until you are sure the aura will be recovered? Oh, it moved. Recovered, and this car will stay in the water. The car is no longer in the water. The car is now out of the water, and it's being confirmed that it is Carrie's car. Is that what we're talking about? I think that's what that question is.
Yep.
Right, Melissa, we've not been to Canada. We're waiting for the world to open back up, and we'll be in Canada. So, on that note, Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this with us. You are Adventures with Purpose. You have a purpose. You've given us a purpose, and you've given us the ability to be out here to help these families.
People are asking for Sam's channel link.
Yep, Sam's channel is Sam
It
the
should
Adventure
be
Man.
in the chat.
It's
the
in
mods
the-
are putting it.
It's in the description as well. So if you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, check out the description, and you can jump over to Sam's channel right now. The mods are also dropping the link in here.
Yep, come on over, guys. We're getting ready to end this one here on Adventures with Purpose. Come on over to Sam the Adventure Man. You guys are already here. Thank you so much.
All right, there's 5,000 people.
5,000
I'm
people.
shutting this down in 15 seconds. So here we go.
So
Countdown.
come on over, Sam the Adventure Man. If you guys want to hang out a little bit more, now's your chance. You guys need to come over to Sam the Adventure Man on YouTube. And for those of you guys who are already here, thank you so much. We'll just give it just a moment more.
That's it. Thank you, Danielle,
That's it.
for a Venmo. So yeah, we do have Venmo and we do have PayPal as well. So thank you for everything, and we will see you on. We don't know if we find what we're looking for tomorrow. We're going live.
Yeah. So but we are going to see you guys more over on my channel.
Yep. All right.
So come on over.
Good night. Thanks. Bye.
You know what's funny is that you asked me to hold your